didn't really think that I could actually myself have a hit record or a #1 record. And then it just kept climbing and kept climbing, and when it got into the top 50, that was enough for me.
Think you know everything about the disco era's golden boy, Andy Gibb? Think again. Behind that $1 million smile and those chart-topping hits was a man who held some serious grudges against the biggest names in rock and pop.
So don't misunderstand me.
We're talking about explosive backstage confrontations, legendary industry feuds, and some absolutely savage comments that would make your jaw drop.
Boy, I didn't care. I didn't care about people. I didn't care about life. And they came to the crunch one night.
The youngest Gibb brother wasn't just living in the shadow of the Bee Gees. He was throwing shade at everyone from stadium rockers to fellow pop princes. Today, we're counting down the top 6 bands that Andy Gibb allegedly couldn't stand, and trust me, some of these rivalries got ugly. We've got insider stories, shocking quotes, and behind-the-scenes drama that the music industry tried to keep quiet for decades. From petty professional jealousy to full-blown public warfare, these feuds reveal a side of Andy Gibb that his fans never saw. So buckle up, because we're about to spill some serious tea about disco's most controversial heartthrob. Band number 6. The Eagles coming in at number 6, we have the Eagles. And this feud was all about artistic credibility versus commercial success. According to sources close to Andy's inner circle, the tension started brewing in 1978 when both acts were dominating the charts simultaneously.
Who were terrifically supportive.
They pulled me right through it, all the worst of it.
Well,
The drama allegedly kicked off at a Beverly Hills industry party where Don Henley reportedly made some cutting remarks about disco being manufactured music for manufactured people. Word quickly got back to Andy, who was already sensitive about critics dismissing his work as lightweight pop fluff. But here's where it gets juicy. Andy allegedly fired back during a Rolling Stone interview saying, "The Eagles think they're some kind of profound American poets, but they're just rich guys complaining about being rich. At least I'm honest about making people dance." Industry insiders claim the feud deepened when both acts were competing for the same studio time at Criteria Studios in Miami. A recording engineer who worked with both artists mentioned that Andy would deliberately book sessions right after the Eagles, claiming their depressing energy left a bad vibe in the room. The musical rivalry made sense, though. While the Eagles represented that introspective country rock authenticity, Andy embodied pure pop escapism, two completely different philosophies about what music should accomplish, and apparently neither side was willing to respect the other's approach to their craft. Band number 5, Fleetwood Mac. At number 5, we dive into one of the pettiest feuds in music history, Andy Gibb versus Fleetwood Mac.
they say, Andy Gibb,
She
we
rang
want
me up
you.
on the phone, says it's Annie here.
This rivalry allegedly started over something as simple as chart positions, but it escalated into a full-blown war of words that had the entire industry talking. The beef reportedly began in late 1977 when Andy's "Love is Thicker Than Water" was climbing the charts at the same time as Fleetwood Mac's "Don't Stop." Both songs were fighting for that coveted #1 spot, and apparently, Andy took the competition very personally. According to a former RSO Records executive, Andy was obsessed with beating Fleetwood Mac because he felt they represented everything pretentious about rock music. Andy would rant about how they took themselves so seriously with all their relationship drama and mystical nonsense, the source revealed. He'd say, "I'm just trying to make people happy, and these people are making millions off their therapy sessions." The feud allegedly reached its peak during the 1978 Grammy Awards when Lindsey Buckingham supposedly snubbed Andy backstage. Witnesses claim Andy approached Buckingham to congratulate him on rumors, only to have Lindsey walk away mid-conversation. Andy reportedly told his manager, "These people think they invented heartbreak. Wait until they see what real rejection looks like on the charts." But here's the thing. Musically, both acts were actually exploring similar themes of love and loss, just through completely different lenses. Andy's approach was pure emotional directness, while Fleetwood Mac wrapped their pain in layers of sophisticated production and cryptic lyrics. Band number 4. Kiss number 4 brings us to the most unexpected feud on our list, Andy Gibb versus Kiss. Yes, you heard that right. The Disco Prince versus the Shock Rock Kings, and this rivalry was absolutely wild. The animosity allegedly started in 1978 when both acts were booked for the same music festival in Germany.
You know, it really it's still going to take a lot of time for people to, you know, see that I'm okay again. And
according to roadie testimonies that surfaced years later, Andy was genuinely intimidated by Kiss's theatrical presence, but tried to play it cool by making jokes about their makeup and costumes. Gene Simmons reportedly wasn't having any of it. A sound engineer who worked that festival claimed Simmons told his bandmates, "This kid thinks he's hot stuff because he's got pretty hair and teenage girls screaming. Let's show him what real stage presence looks like." The situation escalated when Andy allegedly complained to festival organizers about Kiss's pyrotechnics creating too much smoke, claiming it was affecting his vocal performance. Paul Stanley supposedly responded by cranking up their smoke machines even higher during their set, creating what witnesses described as a fog so thick you couldn't see the front row. But the real drama happened backstage after Andy's performance. Multiple sources claim that Ace Frehley, clearly enjoying the tension, walked up to Andy and said, "Nice show, kid. Very safe." Andy reportedly shot back, "At least people can understand my lyrics without a translator." The feud revealed something fascinating about late 70s music culture, the growing divide between accessibility and authenticity. Andy represented mainstream appeal, while Kiss embodied the idea that music should be an experience, not just entertainment. Two completely different philosophies about what it meant to be a performer. Band number 3. Queen coming in at number 3, we have what industry insiders called the Battle of the Voices. Andy Gibb versus Queen. This feud was all about vocal prowess, and it got personal fast. The tension allegedly began in 1979, when both acts were recording at different studios in London. According to a session musician who worked with both artists, Andy became increasingly frustrated with constant comparisons to Freddie Mercury's vocal range and stage presence. The breaking point reportedly came during a chance encounter at Abbey Road Studios. A recording engineer claimed that Freddie, known for his sharp wit, made a comment about Andy's falsetto being quite nice for background vocals.
One night we were having dinner, and after that we were going back into the studio to carry on with the session. And
Andy allegedly didn't take the subtle dig well, responding that real singers don't need costumes and theatrics to hide behind. But Freddie Mercury wasn't one to back down from a verbal sparring match. Sources close to Queen claim he later told the NME, "There's a difference between singing and squeaking. Some people confuse high notes with high art." While the quote was never officially confirmed, it spread through the industry like wildfire. The feud intensified when both acts were competing for the same producer for their next albums. Roy Thomas Baker, who had worked with Queen extensively, was allegedly Andy's first choice for his follow-up record. When Baker chose to continue working with Queen instead, Andy reportedly felt betrayed by what he saw as the British music mafia. Industry veterans remember this period as particularly tense because both artists were at career peaks. Andy was dominating American radio while Queen was conquering the rest of the world. The rivalry highlighted the cultural divide between American pop sensibilities and British rock grandeur. Two very different approaches to achieving musical immortality. Band number 2, the Bee Gees. This might shock you, but coming in at number 2 is Andy's own flesh and blood, the Bee Gees. Yes, the family feud that rocked the Gibb household and sent shockwaves through the entire music industry. The sibling rivalry that started in childhood apparently reached nuclear levels during the height of disco fever. While the world saw a united Gibb family empire, behind closed doors, things were reportedly falling apart.
But it was about 3/4 of the way through it, we realized that we were writing about Andy. And it was about a month after he died.
The tension allegedly stemmed from Andy feeling like he was always living in his brother's shadow despite having his own massive solo success. According to former family friends, the breaking point came during the recording of the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. Andy had written several songs he hoped would be included, but Barry, Robin, and Maurice allegedly shut him out of the project entirely. A studio insider claimed Andy stormed out of a family meeting screaming, "I don't need your charity anymore. I'm bigger than all of you combined." The feud intensified when Andy started making pointed comments in interviews about certain family members who thought they owned disco music. In a 1979 interview with People magazine, Andy allegedly said, "Blood doesn't mean anything when egos get involved. Some people forget that talent doesn't run in just one direction in this family." But the most devastating blow allegedly came when Barry Gibb reportedly told a music journalist, "Andy's success is built on our sound, our connections, and our production team. Without the Bee Gees, there is no Andy Gibb." When those comments reached Andy, sources say he didn't speak to his brothers for 6 months. This wasn't just sibling rivalry. It was a battle for the soul of the Gibb family legacy. The irony is that musically, Andy's solo work was often more innovative than people gave him credit for, but he could never escape the perception that he was riding his brother's coattails. Band number 1, ABBA. And here we are, the number 1 band Andy Gibb allegedly despised most, ABBA. This feud was legendary, spanning continents and involving everything from chart battles to personal attacks that supposedly lasted for years. The rivalry allegedly began in 1977 when both Andy and ABBA were dominating international charts simultaneously. But this wasn't just about commercial competition. According to multiple industry sources, this was about who would be remembered as the ultimate pop perfectionists of the disco era. The drama reportedly started at the World Music Awards, when Björn Ulvaeus allegedly made a comment about American artists lacking the sophistication of European pop music. Andy, who was sitting just 2 tables away, supposedly took this as a direct insult to his artistry and his country. But things got really ugly when Andy allegedly told a Swedish journalist, "ABBA makes music for people who are afraid of real emotion. It's all synthetic happiness and fake smiles. At least when Americans make pop music, we put our hearts into it." The quote supposedly ran in major European music magazines, creating an international incident. The feud escalated when both acts were competing for the same venues during their world tours. A former tour manager revealed that Andy's team would deliberately book shows in cities right before ABBA was scheduled to perform, trying to steal their thunder and audience. According to backstage sources, the most explosive confrontation happened at a 1979 music industry gala in London. Agnetha Feltskog allegedly approached Andy to extend an olive branch, but Andy reportedly refused to even acknowledge her presence. Witnesses claim he told his entourage loud enough for everyone to hear, "I don't talk to robots." The rivalry represented more than just personal animosity. It was a clash between 2 different visions of what perfect pop music should be. ABBA's pristine, calculated approach versus Andy's raw, emotional delivery. Both were incredibly successful, but they couldn't coexist in the same musical universe. And there you have it, the 6 bands that Andy Gibb allegedly couldn't stand. From family feuds to international incidents, these rivalries show us a side of the disco era that most people never knew existed. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I love hearing your theories about these music industry dramas. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into disco's dark side, smash that like button and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes music history that you won't find anywhere else.